Hello, it's Fast Charlie, and today I am going to share how I hand file a key. I really struggled with it in the beginning, and if you have ever seen my first key, it is in a challenge lock. K1 Locks and Albert LaBelle have both picked it. It is called First Key in the Deep, and it was a very difficult project for me. Now that I've been doing it a few months, I have found what works for me to be pretty useful and pretty quick. And I've gone from really struggling and not wanting to cut my own key from a blank to that's something that I actually enjoy doing. And I did see Average Picker's recent video about making challenge lock, his first challenge lock, and some of the struggles that he had. And he mentioned that he had some issues with a key, and I thought I definitely feel his pain and early frustration. And I thought I'm going to share how I do it now, because while I'm sure there are many other ways to do it, and there are definitely a lot of videos about making keys, I haven't seen anything exactly like how I make keys and the tools that I use. I will say that one of the helpful videos that I learned from was the helpful lock pickers video. I believe it's 116. And he also discusses in that video things like shimming and other parts of figuring out key pin depths and things like that. I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to use it's a US lock, and this is the original key, but I am going to do my best to pin this up using the same key pins, and then I will make a key. And I'm going to try to do it in real time without any cuts in the video anyway. Only cuts will be to the key, and we'll go from there. First thing is the tools. I use this. It would be nice if this was tapered, but this is seriously like a $3 file. It's a chainsaw sharpening file. And then the rest are from little needle file kits that I picked up for just a couple of bucks. This one is a triangle cut. This is a tapered round file. And then this one I stumbled upon by accident. This is very good and useful, and I will show you why it's useful. Because one side, one edge is a file. This edge is flat and it doesn't cut, and that is really helpful. And again, if you just go to a craft store and go to the jewelry making aisle, you will find probably a fairly decent set. And but I would definitely suggest looking to see if you can find one that does not have a file on one side, one edge. This is a 6-pin lock. It can be keyed up 6-pin, but it came just like this. It is a US lock, and this is how the key works, just the way I received it, and turns perfectly. And I really struggled with getting the right depths, just holding the plug in my hand. So I made this little guy. I saw people using plug holders, and I looked, and they're kind of expensive, and if that's the only thing that you're buying, then you have to get it shipped to you. So I thought I would try my hand at making one out of a junk Schlage kick cylinder, and I just cut the driver Bible off and smoothed up the edges. I did try to leave the bottom edges sharp so that I can make sure that it turns smoothly and doesn't get caught up. So here we go. Take that key out. First thing you do is you dump the pins. And I would suggest learning from one of my mistakes is if you are planning to do any kind of modifications to the plug, such as threading or counter milling, I would suggest that you do that first before you cut the key, because I have done things by accident. Like I accidentally go too far and nick the warding that the key pins rest on, and that changes everything, as you could probably imagine. Okay, so the first thing I do is I take a little marker and just try to mark the center. Sometimes it's easier if you clean up the key just a little bit and just file the key a little bit so that the brass is showing. So we'll check that out. It's kind of a mess. It is a mess, but what I'll do is I'll check that first one, and then I just take my triangle file and just put a little nick, and then I check to be sure it's centered in the chamber, and then I'm going to wipe this off because those were all messed up. You can also scratch into the key to put your mark. That looks like a decent mark. Just a couple of swipes. And at first I did not really, I kind of would use a file going back and forth. I have since learned that it actually cuts easier if you only go in the cutting forward direction. That one's pretty good. And just make sure that your key is all the way in when you're trying to do this. Okay. Now, I take these little marks, and then after I put those little marks, I take the shortest key pin in the lock and put it in here and make sure that I have room, and I do in this case. It's, you know, it's not sticking up very much, but I do have room. So I am going to now take my chainsaw file and just get these started. And use the little tiny groove that you put in here with the triangle file as a guide. Now, sometimes you need a little help, especially on the end, on the last. Okay, now I need to make sure that I didn't go too far on that fifth one, and I'm still hung up, so that's a good thing. And this is where I start. I go ahead and populate these. I will likely take out this long one so that it doesn't pop out when I put the key blank in, because when you take the key blank in and out, they pop up and it can cause problems. So I am going to start on one. As you can see, it does need some filing, and I'm going to take it real slow and easy. Just 1, 2, 3. The better your file, the slower you go. Now, that is not much of a cut, but it's very close. Now I'm going to move on to 2. Need to go further. Now I'm starting to get a little catch, and how I clean up this little catch here is with this file. I use the side that is flat. So I aim the not file side down and just swipe it at an angle, and that cleans it up a little bit. And that way you can clean this up as you go, and then you don't get caught up as you're progressing, because otherwise you'll get to a point where you are trying to put the key in and out. I did that very, very lightly, just so you know. And the key pins will all get stuck, and then you have to dump them out. That's pretty decent. I might need to clean up one with one swipe. Okay, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's okay to count. Need to keep going. Clean this up because that angle is too steep for that key to pull out. You just have to make sure that you don't get into the next chamber over, or next key pin spot over. That's decent. Now we're going to put this longer guy in here. This is where this other file comes in really handy, because this is going to take quite a bit of filing, and when you start getting deep, it is the key will get to a point like this where those pins will get stuck. So I'm going to clean that up. A little bit more cleanup, and now it should go pretty well in there. Still need to take a bunch off. Cleaning it up. A little bit crooked. It's better. Okay, and now we have that. You know, and your key is not going to be a beautiful masterpiece. It just needs to be functional, and it needs to not get caught up. I would suggest the first, until you're comfortable, it's a good idea to take your time and test the key one by one, only pinning up one chamber at a time, so that if you mess up, it's easy to pick it. That's pretty decent. And we're just going for pretty close. If we have to take a little bit off here and there in a minute, we will do that. Okay, now you might see that it appears that number 4 needs to go down just a little bit. It's getting hung up. And that is just a little bit. I'm going to clean this up so that the key pins don't get caught. And making sure every time that the flat side is down so that I'm not cutting any deeper. Okay, what's getting caught up now? And I do keep one of these handy. This is like a little magnifying glass, and I'm going to take a peek at this. Looks like 2 and 3 are caught up just a little bit. Just ever so slightly. I'm gonna knock this little ledge down and knock that ledge down, and I hope that it'll start working. And it's still not. Looks like it's still number 3. 1, 2, 3. Gonna knock the ledge down. Just 1 or 2 swipes. Should be all it needs. Now it's just a little bit tight, but it does turn. And I need to get my little magnifying glass out and take a peek. Okay, number 1. think it'll turn now. There we go. It was number 1. Now I do have to put a shim in here because of the way that this is designed. The plug is designed. And I'm going to go for it. Here it is. And here it is in the little holder that I made. It's, you know, not perfect, but it should work, especially with standard driver pins. Gonna check it. It does work. Make sure that you hold the plug in when you take it out. Make sure it is locked up, and it is, and it works. So we will go ahead and compare the keys. I think that's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's actually pretty cool, pretty close. Looks very similar. So there you go. I hope that is helpful. You know, my intention was to do this fairly quickly. Video's a little longer than I wanted it to be, but I think it is a good demonstration of how I do it. It is much faster if I'm not talking. I can just go, and I can really get a key done usually in about probably about 7 or 8 minutes, I would say. So I haven't really timed myself, but I would guess that's about how long it takes. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. And yeah, it's a fun little project to do. And I am just going to show real quick that this is all pinned up here. And well, there you go. So everyone, be good and be well.